Okay, so now, this guy that Jacob was wrestling with, so if this guy that Jacob was wrestling with, right? This guy pretty much told him, hey, look, listen, okay, your name is now Israel, for the most part, right? So, like I said before, he's still his name was Jacob, still his name was Jacob. But he called him Israel because Jacob would be the forefather of all of the 12 tribes today. Okay? All of you Negroes, you Jamaicans, you Dominicans, okay? You Haitians, okay? All of you Negroes scattered across the four corners of the planet. Our forefather is Jacob. Now, this man that he wrestled with told him that he wasn't going to let him go until he blessed him. So what type of man was this? Not only that, this man apparently had the authority to rename him. Okay? So, I want y'all to understand who Jacob was wrestling with. Now, I know a lot of you all, this is going to be hard to wrap your head around. So let's get to it, shall we? And so he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and hast prevailed. Do I need this? Has power with men and hath prevailed, maybe. Okay? And Jacob asked him and said, tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, wherefore is that thou dost ask after my name? And he blessed him there. So Jacob blessed him and Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. So Jacob knew that he was actually wrestling with Christ. That's who he was wrestling with. Jacob got into a physical altercation. Christ appeared and got into a physical altercation with Jacob. Now, I know this is complicated for many of you to wrap your head around, but that's what happened. This is the Old Testament. This is not the New Testament. This is the Old Testament. This is the angel of the Lord. Now, this is an absolute theophany. This was the manifestation of the Most High that came down to the forefather of the Negroes and all of the 12 tribes and gave him the title of Israel, which is the reason why we're called Israel today. Okay? Now, if that's too complicated for anybody to wrap their head around, I suggest you just go ahead and leave the message. Just go ahead and leave, because that means that this message is not for you. Shalom? All right, now. So, Yahuwah is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Jacob is the forefather of the 12 tribes of Israel. And Yahusha, Christ, Yahuwah, Yah, the angel of the Lord, titled Jacob Israel during that physical altercation. So that's something that I wanted you all to know. Let's go to Genesis chapter 46. Let's go to Genesis Now let's go to chapter 46. Now, here's another question, okay? So, everybody, well, it's not a question. Everybody wants to make proclamation that first of all, I need everybody to understand something. Slavery is not something, us Negroes did not undergo slavery because of our skin color. Okay? Because everybody wants to go back to the year 1619, when slavery allegedly started. Don't you understand? That was just one of our slaveries. Now, you can say, yeah, it's black people that's undergoing these slaveries. Sure, you can say that. But you can say that it's black people that's undergoing these slaveries. Absolutely. It is black people undergoing these slaveries. But it's not because of the actual color of our skin. Now, this is what a lot of you need to understand. Okay? It's because of who you are according to the scriptures. The so-called Negro went into slavery allegedly in 1619, not because he was black, but because he was an Israelite. Because you were the children of God. This is what you need to understand. It's not a color thing, it's a bloodline. Okay? So, if any of you understand that, it's not a color, it's a bloodline. Now, remember, Jacob, the forefather that Yah Elohim manifested himself to in the flesh, once again, in the Old Testament, and came and fought and had a physical altercation with. The man Jacob, who is the forefather of all of you Negroes today, and all the 12 tribes. He was given the title of Israel. What did Jacob and what did Israel do prior to the Exodus? And how did black people get into slavery? How did you become slaves in Egypt? So how did all of our ancestors even become slaves to the Egyptians, slaves to the Pharaoh in the first place? Now, you all want to speak about the slavery that allegedly started in 1619. But don't you understand that us, as the children of God, have been in and out of slavery for the past 3,000, 3,500 years? Since Egypt. Now remember, Jacob's name is also Israel. Let us go to Genesis chapter 46, shall we? Genesis chapter 46. So now, once again, if you're not here to learn, just leave. If you're here for the foolishness of YouTube, the foolishness of Instagram, and the foolishness of Facebook, then leave. For I am a teacher and a messenger of the truth, not foolishness. Okay? Now, Genesis chapter 46. Listen and learn. Genesis chapter 46. Listen and learn. And it says, and Israel took his journey. Israel took his journey with all that he had and came to Beersheba and offered sacrifices unto the Elohim of his father Isaac. This is Jacob. Remember, he renamed Jacob Israel. So that's why it says, now Israel is a nation of people. Us, we are the Israelites today. Okay? But right here it says in Genesis chapter 46, it says in Israel, this is the man Jacob, remember? He took his journey with all that he had, so he took all his belongings, and he came to Beersheba and offered sacrifices into the Elohim of his father Isaac. Okay? And Elohim, or God, spake unto Israel in the visions of the night, and said, Jacob, Jacob. See, there you go. Israel and Jacob is interchangeable. Jacob, Jacob. And he said, here I am. And he said, I am God, the God of thy father. Fear not to go down into Egypt, for I will there make thee a great nation. There you have it right there. So Yahuwah told Israel, told Jacob, fear not to go down into the land of Egypt, because there I will make you a great nation. That's what he just told him. Now, I want you to pay close attention. Okay? And Jacob rose up from Beersheba, and the sons of Israel carried Jacob their father and their little ones and their wives in the wagons which Pharaoh had sent to carry him, and they took their cattle and they took their goods which they had gotten in the land of Canaan, and came into Egypt, Jacob and all his seed with him. Jacob had all his seed with him, all of his sons. Jacob had 12 sons. The 12 sons of Jacob are the 12 patriarchs, which are the fathers of each of the 12 tribes of Israel. Now, basically what happened is the 12 sons that Jacob had, okay, as they migrated over into Egypt, okay, that one of his sons by the name of Joseph, which is the forefather of Ephraim, okay, eventually he actually became second in command to the Pharaoh. Pharaoh put him second in command. Okay, if you remember one of the stories that I explained to you when I told you that one of the Pharaoh's wives was trying to mess around, was trying to get the eggplant from Joseph. Okay, because he resisted his wife, because he resisted the Pharaoh's wife. That specific Pharaoh took Joseph, the son of Jacob, one of the sons of Jacob, because his brothers hated. It's a longer story than that. His brothers hated on him. His brothers were envious and jealous of him. The other patriarchs, they actually sought to take his life, but they end up selling him into slavery. So that's how he became underneath the Pharaoh, okay? Became underneath the Pharaoh, and that's how the Pharaoh's wife started coming at him and blah, blah, blah. But because he was an upright man, that Pharaoh took him and put him in second place. And the son of that Pharaoh, okay, was very loyal to Joseph. Okay, so he ended up being very loyal to Joseph, and that's pretty much how. And because all of the sons, Jacob's sons, because there were also women, there were daughters and there were wives that came along with Jacob and his 12 sons, and they reproduced. Okay, till maybe about 3 million or so. And what happened was eventually the Pharaoh, they became afraid because the Israelites were multiplying, they were reproducing rapidly. And when it got to about maybe 3 million, of them, 3 million of them niggas, then what the Pharaoh did was he became afraid that the Israelites would probably join one of the Assyrian army or one of the other armies, one of his enemies' armies. So he was afraid of that. But not only that, he was afraid that the Israelites themselves were getting large in number, and the fact that they would rebel. That's the reason why here in America and all the rest of the countries we're called the minority, because as I told you before, the wicked, they pay billions of dollars a year to keep us at a small number. So that because they know who we are according to the scriptures, and they don't want us to get but so many, they don't want us to become the majority, because they know that, we would rebel. Not only that, they try to keep us in darkness, they try to keep us atheists, they try to keep us in religion, they try to keep us in Christianity, they try to keep us in Islam, they try to keep us in Catholicism, they try to keep us in the 5% of bullshit, they try to keep us in all of this bullshit so that we don't know who we are according to the scriptures, and so that we can't call on our God who is our power. Okay? The same thing happened in the past. There's nothing new under the sun. And here we are 4,000 years later. We're in the same situation. There has been dispensation and cycle and age one after another. And at each cycle there has been an apocalypse, right? And Yah has came on multiple occasions. Our Father, Yahuwah, Yah, Yahusha the Christ, Angel of the Lord, Elohim, God, whatever you want to call him, Ahaya, whatever you would like to call him in that retrospect, has came and has rescued us on multiple occasions and put us in our land. Over and over and over again, he's done this. And every time we got into our land, we forgot about the miracles and we forgot about the wondrous things that he did, and therefore we always eventually ended up turning our back on the Most High. And this happened over and over and over again throughout each captivity. Now, after the Egyptian captivity, okay, after the Egyptian captivity, all right, which was Mitzrayim, which was considered bondage, us Israelites then went into Assyrian captivity, right, which is a slavery. Captivity and slavery are interchangeable. Okay? Now I had to cut this short, but listen. I got a lot of stuff that I need to say. So I'm going to have more lessons than normal next week. Nothing's going to stop that. Okay? Not my slanders, not anything. These are things that Christ wants me to say. I might even have to come on Instagram to say some of these things. This is a decree from Christ. This is not something that I want to do. This is a decree from Yahusha Elohim. Okay? And if I don't carry out his decree, I'm going to be in trouble. So I can't worry about what you niggas think. Okay? And there is a decree out for a lot of the wicked. And he will not take back his hand on the decree, for many of the wicked must be compensated. Okay? So now, we went through, after the Egyptian, okay, there's so many years go past, but actually was another captive, After the Egyptian, then it was the Assyrian captivity. Then after the Assyrian captivity, Babylon conquered the Assyrians, and we went into Babylonian captivity. After the Babylonian captivity, now that's the original Babylon, right? And after the Babylonian captivity, we went into Greek captivity. And then the Romans conquered the Greeks. And then after the Roman, so we went into Roman captivity. We all know about that. That's the time. That's around the time of Christ. And after Roman captivity, we're now back here in Babylon again. Okay, America is considered Babylon. Okay, so we're back here again. Now, there is a prophecy on how we got back here to the America, which is also considered a spiritual Egypt. Okay, see, a lot of you Negroes, you're very, very foolish. Many of you are so concerned about what's going on social media. You're so concerned about a whole bunch of foolishness that you don't understand what's about to come down the pike. Now, I can't wait till it comes. I'm going to take joy in all of these things, just like I'm taking joy, and I'm undergoing these slanders and all of these things. I'm taking a joy in this. I swear to you all. Why? Because I know what my reward is in return for these things. You see what I'm saying? Now, this country is about to get closed down again. In fact, various parts across the globe is about to get closed down again, because this fake bullshit that's coming back into surface, now, it's going to come back. And there's going to be a food shortage. There's no doubt about that. Those things are going to be happening. Now, I'm telling you Negroes what's about to happen. And I'm telling the rest of you nations as well. You all better get prepared. Okay? Because the birth pains, the contractions are getting closer and closer and closer. Until Esau, who is the spiritual wickedness in high places. Okay? Now, Esau is a race. Okay? But the wicked, okay, Esau is a spirit. I know what I'm talking about. I'm very positive about the things that I'm saying. Okay? So, now, let me continue, however. Let's go, because you all want to know, how did us Negroes come? This is the last and final slavery, where we're at now. Us Negroes here in America and scattered abroad as well, because we remember, we are the minority everywhere we are. We're the minority in Canada, we're the minority in England, we're the minority in Germany, we're the minority in Australia, we're the minority. I keep telling you niggas, if there's any of you niggas over there in China, you's a stupid nigga. Okay? You's a stupid nigga if you're over there in China, because if you're over there in China, I'm sure your dumb ass wasn't born in China. There are very, very few niggas born in China, extremely few, like one or two. If you one of them one or two, then do whatever. I'm not gonna call you foolish. Do whatever you if you over there in business temporarily for a short period of time, now's the time to leave. I'm telling y'all. You better take heed to me. Get the F out of China. I'm warning you niggas. Okay? Now, let's go to Deuteronomy 28. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28. And we're going to start at 58. Okay? Deuteronomy chapter 28. And we're going to start at 58. Now, I want you Negroes to pay careful attention to what I'm about to say to you. If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law, if thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, now, there's no way you Negroes are going to do all the words of the law that's written in the scriptures. Not unless you have trust in Yahushua HaMashiach. Why? I'll explain that in a minute. But I need you all to understand something. The impossibility on your own merit. The impossibility on your own merit. The impossibility on your own account. On your own account. For you to do in the flesh for you to do as mankind, as a so-called human being. The impossibility is to do all the words of the law written in the book. Now, in union with Christ, then you become blameless. That doesn't mean to sin at will. That doesn't mean to fearlessly be evil and wicked. But what it means is you have an advocate. For God is his own advocate. Okay? So you got to trust in Yahushua HaMashiach. Why? Because there's no way in the world you in the flesh, you or I in the flesh, can perfect the law of God. It's not possible. I don't care what anybody tells you. You have to follow the commandments with the trust, being in union with Yahushua HaMashiach. That is the completion of the law. Okay? So now the space if you want to say, if thou is telling you right here, all of you Negroes, that if you don't observe to do all the words in the law, see, it's a stem law. It was a catch-22 to it. And if you don't deserve to do all the law that's written in the book, that thou mayest fear this glorious and fearful name, Yahuwah thy Elohim. Woo! That's in all caps. Yahuwah thy Elohim. Okay? Most of you don't even use the real name. Now, for all of you right there, I'm telling you right now, for all of you that have a problem and issues with the name, I want y'all to go to Deuteronomy 28, chapter 58. Excuse me, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 58. And I want you to read that. And then it says, then Yahuwah will make thy plagues wonderful, the plagues of thy seed, even great plagues, and of the long continuance, and sore sickness, and of long continuance. Yahuwah will make thy plagues wonderful. Plagues are disasters. It can be diseases. So plagues are bad things. Are not bad things happening to us Negroes right now? This is a prophecy. Okay? It's a curse, but it's a prophecy. And a lot of people don't understand that. Then Yahuwah will make thy plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed, even great plagues. Then he says, moreover, he will bring who? Yahuwah will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt. So the diseases, now we're not even at this point yet, but there were multiple diseases that went into Egypt that happened during the time of Moses, during the time of the Egyptian slavery. And these diseases are going to come back today here in the land of America, because the land of America is considered spiritual Egypt. And then he says, moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt, which thou wast afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. Also every sickness and every plague, which is not written in the book of this law, and diseases and plagues that are not written in the book of the law. So it's going to be new shit. Them will the Lord bring upon thee until thou be destroyed. So until you black people are destroyed, these diseases and these plagues are going to come here to America. And ye shall be left few in number, whereas ye was as the stars of heaven for multitude. So where there was a lot of us, we'll be left few in number, because thou wouldest not obey the voice of Yahuwah thy Elohim. And it shall come to pass that as Yahuwah rejoiced over you to do you good and to multiply you, so Yahuwah will rejoice over you to destroy you. And to bring you to nothing. And ye shall be plucked from off the land whither thou goest to possess it. And Yahuwah, and then here it is, And then Yahuwah shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there you shall serve other gods. And there you shall serve other gods. Why? Because you are among the heathens. You are among the other nations. So you are serving their gods. You're serving the Caucasians' gods. You're serving the Chinaman's gods. You're serving the Arab man's gods. You're serving the African's man's gods. You're serving the who else is it? Right? You're serving the Indian man's gods. Right? You're serving all of these false gods. Right? And then it says, from one end of the earth into the other, and thou shalt serve other gods which thou nor thy fathers have known. So your ancestors never knew any of these gods. 3,500 years ago, none of these gods existed. Okay? I'll be right back.